Ciao, buongiorno, mi chiamo MJ. Vengo del Gattaran, io sono estudiante in Scuola Internazionale dell'Asia e del Pacifico e questa è la mia presentazione sulla comunicazione intercultural. Welcome to the world's largest wine producers and where pizza is by far the most famous creation, the Italy. People mainly visit Italy for its rich culture, cuisines, history, fashion and art, its beautiful coastline and beaches, its mountains and priceless ancient monuments. Italy also contains more World Heritage sites than any country in the world. However, our main focus on this presentation is to know the communication modes, practices, and styles of Italy. And I guess you guys are already aware on what intercultural communication means, so I wouldn't be longer discuss it. Without further ado, let's get it started. First one, we have the communication, the verbal communication. We have the direct communication. Italians are typically direct communicators. They tend to be open about their emotions and speak clearly about their point. They generally expect similar honesty from their conversation partner and hence may fail to read into understatements. Therefore, avoid ambiguity and indirect speech. Second one, we have the communication styles. Italians are generally quiet, open, inquisitive, and bold. Expect to be asked a lot about your life story and background. You may find that they are eager to give their opinion or advice on your activity. For example, they may point out an error in your organization or of your home and give you a tip on how to correct it. Foreigners can find this judgmental or nosy. However, avoid ignoring them or shutting down their questions and comments. This may lead them to see you as a closed off or overly sensitive. Third one, silence. Italians can grow uncomfortable with prolonged periods of silence and may naturally speak to fill it. Fourth one, we have the raised voice. Italians may speak in loud voices to make themselves heard over one another. A raised voice is not necessarily a sign of anger, but can be an expression of excitement or conviction. You may find people talk over one another in order to be heard. Next one is the humor. Italians often enjoy joking throughout conversation to lighten the mood. Having humor in one's voice can allow people to speak their mind quiet openly. Be aware that their humor can be quiet, clinical, making fun of sensitive topics. They can also be quiet, self-deprecating, ironic, and sarcastic. Expect them to mock one another and slip sarcasm or double meanings into any topic of conversation. Last one for the verbal communication is the online communication. Consider that some Italians may find online communication to be an impersonal form of interaction or a lazy way of maintaining a relationship. The older generation in particular may limit its use to helping organize further face-to-face interaction. This doesn't apply to the younger generations that are more involved in the digital world. Next, we have the non-verbal communication. First one, we have the personal space. Italians generally keep a close proximity to one another, sometimes standing less than a meter away from the person they are talking to. While this distinction is not always noticeable, they may think you are avoiding them if you move farther away from them, what they consider to be normal. Second one, we have the physical contact. Italians are generally tactile people and quiet affectionate. It is common to see hugging, kissing, backslapping, and hand-holding in public. People may touch their conversation partner to show their engagement in the discussion. For example, nudging them or touching their arm when pointing something out. Friends may also walk arm in public. Next one is the eye contact. Direct eye contact is expected and held during conversation. In some places in Italy, people may inadvertently stare out of curiosity. However, be aware that staring is generally considered rude and can also represent an act of defiance if a person of low social status stares at someone higher than them. Fourth one is the expression. Italians are naturally more expressive in their tone of voice, facial expressions, and body language, often motioning with their hands to emphasize their point. This can sometimes seem theatrical. Expect many gestures to be used during communication and consider how much you use your own in comparison. Newly migrated Italians can often interpret Australian body language to be stiff and reserved. Next is gestures. To rub one's thumb against the fingers indicates money. People may acknowledge the cleverness of another person by pulling down the bottom eyelid with a finger. People can gesture no by jerking their head upwards. By aware, this can be look similar to a nod. Last one is the counting. Italians start counting with their thumb instead of their index finger. The thumb represents one and so on. Reputation and la bella figura. Italian culture places much importance to an individual's reputation or honor. It is perceived to reflect their family and upbringing and is essentially a way of opening up opportunities. In Italy, a person's honor is defined by the impression they leave on others, their la bella figura, or which literally means good image. Family. The family or la famiglia is the most important aspect of an Italian's life. It provides emotional and economic support to the individuals and often forms the basis of their social circles. Italian families on average have become smaller in size over the past few decades as the fertility rate has declined. For the greetings, Italian greetings are usually warm and rather formal. The common greeting is a handshake with direct eye contact and a smile. Just like here in the Philippines, we also do that kind of greeting, especially when we congratulate a one person. If their greeting is between the man and a woman, the woman generally extends her hand first. People avoid shaking hands over the top of other people's hand. If someone has dirty or wet hands, they may apologize and simply nod. Visiting. It is common to visit friends, especially on Sunday and holidays. Italians from villages may visit each other unannounced. However, in the cities, people plan most social engagement to fit within schedules. Some Italians find it rude to take off one's shoes in front of others. Dinner guests often bring a gift of wine, chocolates, or flowers. Offering compliments about the host home or provided meal is a good way to break the ice. Typically, elders enter a room first. It is common for men to stand when a woman first enters a room. This is the same for the children when an adult first enters a room. Make sure to compliment the cleanliness and decor of someone's home. Italian women often take great pride in the appearance of their houses. In basic etiquette, it is common for Italian friends and families to kiss on the cheek when they meet irrespective of their gender. Of respect when an older person enters the room. It is important to dress neatly and respectfully. Cover your mouth when yawning or sneezing. Hats should be removed indoors. It is impolite to remove one's shoes in front of others. Punctuality is not that tight in social situations. In Italy, on time can mean 20, 30, or even 45 minutes late. Just like here in the Philippines, that's why we have the so-called Filipino time. Open doors for elderly. Men often open doors for women. And here in the Philippines, we also do that kind of etiquette. As we visit the Italy, we should be mindful about their do's and don'ts about their culture. First one, we have the chewing loudly. Or the fare more mentre mangi, or make noise when you are eating in English. In some culture, it's totally fine. But in Italy, it can't really stand hearing people eat and chew and make noise as they're eating. And so for the Philippines, it's fine to slurp up of a soap. In Italy, you don't make a sound. If you are eating in Italy, be mindful for that. Somebody maybe give you bad looks for that thing. Second one is taking off your shoes. It might be a practice in your culture to take off your shoes when you walk into somebody's home. It's polite and sanitary, but in Italy, very few of them do that. Here's the thing, nobody's want to see your feet, so if you are guest for someone's house, don't intimidate, assume that you should take your shoes off because in most houses, they don't want to see your feet. But in some countries like Russia, Ukraine, Poland, Philippines, it is okay and it should be really remove your shoes when you walk into a house. Third one is burping. It could be common to your culture to do that as a sign for being thankful or whatever, but in Italy, they don't do that. They don't like it. If you ever burp even accidentally in front of a friend and you are good terms with them, then they will call you pig. Or when you are not in good terms with them, you should apologize. Burping is something that they don't like in Italy. But in China, burping is treated as any other bodily process, and after a meal, it can indeed serve as a compliment to a chef. Number 4. Helping yourself to the fridge. When you visit a friend, then you have the liberty to open the fridge and help yourself to whatever beverages or food you want. In Italy, the kitchen doesn't belong to you. So if you're a guest to somebody's house, even it's your close friend, you do not just help yourself in anything. You should just ask. And for the list of do's in Italian culture, first one, we have the be conscious of how you dress. Italians do judge other people based off of how they dress, and they can usually tell if you're American and a tourist based off of how you dress and present yourself. That means you can't bring those flip-flops with you. Second one, do remember to look after your belongings. As like any big city, you have to be very careful about your belongings. Make sure that you keep all valuables out of our pockets and always bring a bag that zips closed so that it deters anyone from trying to get out to your belongings. Third one, do carry some cash around with you. Not all shops and restaurants take credit cards, and it's better to be safe when it comes to that kind of thing so that you aren't left feeling stranded and unable to pay after finishing a meal. So that's all about the do's and don'ts about the Italian culture. So we should be mindful about those things. Well, sono affezionato dalla cultura italiana, quindi questa sarà la fine della mia presentazione. Grazie per guardare. Dio benedica e tenga al sicuro tutti.